This is a story about Krishna as a playful little child. One day he was roaming around the village and he saw an old lady who carried on her head a large basket, and in the basket was a beautiful assortment of fruit, no doubt from the nearby meadows, gardens, forests. And he got very, very excited, and he came up and he said, "Can I please have some fruit?" And the kindly old lady looked into his beautiful dark eyes and smiled gently and said, "Well, I normally exchange for rice grain, the fruit, but for you, my dear, I will give it for free." And Krishna's eyes got big, and he said, "Oh, no, no." He refused to have her just give it for free. My dad is wealthy, and my parents, my ma has lots of rice that she can exchange. And so he said, "Come, come." And he sped off like a little dart of flame, a little whoosh, and somehow the old lady managed to follow him and find him. And she waited at the doorstep of his home, and he struggled and somehow managed to get the jars. The parents were nowhere to be found. And so he scooped up some rice grain and came outside, and he was very proud of himself. He even had some beads of sweat on his face. So apparently took a little effort, and he opened, and there was all but 5 or 6 grains. But she lovingly, graciously took it, sat the little child on her lap, and proceeded to give him some of the berries and other wonderful fruits. And fantastically, he could just kept eating the fruit so quickly. She couldn't believe it. Every time she glanced away, another big chunk of the fruit was gone. And his appetite seemed supernatural, insatiable. And finally, "Well, my precious," she said, "is that enough? Are you full?" And now, Krishna had his mouth full of fruit and little juice perhaps rolling down the cheeks or the mouth. And she says, "Well, my dear, I need to go now." Her basket was empty, but she was filled. By giving the fruits of her labor, she was so filled with love and joy and bliss. And he probably waved away with a mouth full of fruit and went in home, and she walked away, and before long she had the basket on her head and empty, but it got heavy. Her head felt heavy. She'd bring the basket down. It was full of precious gems, as large as the berries, the strawberries, and other fruits that she had fed the little child. And some were dark, like midnight blue or black, and they sparkled like his mischievous dark eyes. And it's like when he'd laugh. And then some were blue, like his blue skin as he whooshed by like a flame quickly. And some were pink, like his pudgy little hands. And with all of it, she felt his iridescent beauty and sparkling, playful, and yes, mischievous laughter. But it filled her being with joy. So what we give freely, without attachment, the higher realm can give back in countless ways that we can never possibly imagine. And from then on, she always held in the form of that playful, even mischievous, adorable child, Krishna, in her heart.